Ahava and blessings. Welcome to this episode of Hold the Shekhinah. This is a space for us to remember, reawaken in some ways, because life is about a series of reawakenings into remembrance, to integrate and to embody the Holy Spirit, the Shekhinah. The Shekhinah is the Holy Spirit, the divine feminine presence. She is that which infuses us all with life. So this podcast is designed and offered to support us in this process of ascension. I am your host. My name is Aurea. I am a Reiki master, Magdalene priestess, intuitive energy and sound healer, and I am your guide. So there's a lot going on in the world. There is a lot of collective suffering, pain, chaos, destruction, bloodshed. And we're going to talk about this, and we're going to talk about how we as starseeds, as beings who feel everything that is happening and are here to anchor a higher frequency, how do we deal with this? How can we see what is going on in the world and still remain heart-centered? That is the importance of what we do as spiritual beings, what we do as embodiments of the divine who are awakened to our mission and to our purpose. We are basically the front line. And it's important for us to nourish ourselves. So I think it's really important to take time out to receive information that is not tainted by fear, by manipulation, by lies in many cases, and basically by, actually one of the people I follow on, he's a doctor, on Instagram put it very plainly. It's fear porn. And the more that their ratings drop, the more that they're going to ramp up the fear porn. Because what? So let's just look at this from an emotional, psychological perspective. When we see violence, when we hear it happening, our body, our physiology doesn't know the difference that it's happening to someone else. I know it may feel to some people who are disconnected from their own clairs and their own intuition and their own, in many cases, humanity and our own divinity, that we are separate. However, to those of us who are attuned and awakened, or in a process of awakening, because actually we're all in a process of awakening. If you are awakened, it's an endless, eternal process of further awakening. Sorry to break it to you. There is no nirvana and peace, you're out. That's not the way it works. So when you see it, when you hear it, you have a visceral reaction to it, particularly if there is unresolved traumas and karmas and stuff. Because the thing is, many of us have lived many lifetimes in other places, some of us in the Holy Land, but anywhere that has been touched by war, by destruction, by pain, by rape, by suffering, by all those things. If you've lived it before, chances are this is triggering those memories of loss, of suffering, of chaos, of destruction, of all of those things. So what do we do? I mean, the first thing I would say is do not watch the news. Don't do it. Because all it's doing is it's programming you into a narrative. Whether it's one side or the other, it doesn't matter. It's programming you into a narrative. It's also traumatizing you. It's traumatizing your physical, emotional, mental, causal bodies. So I would say don't watch it for those reasons. And even if you're doing your best to avoid it, it's unavoidable in some ways. Then that's where a centering practice is very important. So coming back to your heart, breathing. Because you will notice when you are stressed and when you are triggered, your breathing changes. It goes from being deep in the belly, that deep breath that is nourishing, to being very shallow, being in your chest. Again, your blood pressure rises, the stress level rises, your body is basically secreting cortisol, which again, not a good hormone to be secreting all the time. You're basically in fight or flight. We do not want to engage the sympathetic system. We want to engage the parasympathetic system. I hope I got those right. Basically, we want to engage the system that is the calming system. My apologies. We want to calm the nervous system. We don't want to add to our triggers. So how do we do this? We do this by focusing on our breath, by meditation, by sound healing. The sound healing that is a companion episode to this episode, is going to be one that soothes your nervous system. So listening to solfeggio frequencies, going out in nature, taking a walk, exercising, yoga. I mentioned breath work, I believe. I mentioned meditation. Art, if you love to draw, if you love to journal, get it all out. Ritual, like learning how to ritualize your day, how to make every moment sacred, and being really present in your body and in this moment. Not thinking about your to-do list, not thinking about the kids you got to pick up later, not thinking about, we have, oh my God, we're getting into Halloween. We got to make plans for the Halloween or the Thanksgiving. Basically, calling your energy and your focus into the present. That is what is needed. Into the present moment, into the heart space, into your power. Because whenever we give our attention to something that is basically fear porn, what we're doing is we're giving our power away. It is basically manipulating us into an emotional response, because we're human beings. We're going to have this human emotional response. But that emotional response for many of us, because of all the stress in our life, because many of us are not, we're really not prepared to deal with this level of nonsense. The shenanigans that are going on behind the scenes, I got chastised because I supposedly took a side when I wasn't taking a side. Because what we have to remember is there's a lot going on. This isn't just about one side versus the other. This isn't about, what one side did to the other in the past, what this side is doing to the other now. This isn't about that. There are agendas happening behind the scenes, multiple ones that we know nothing about. And it's basically manipulating the situation in order to perpetuate certain programs, certain narratives, and to basically keep us all noosed and enslaved and, just blindly following the powers that were, because I'm not going to call them the powers that be, what they want us to do, and giving our power away. We need to remain sovereign. We need to understand that we are whole and complete. We need to really bring down a higher frequency, because this is what we've been doing. We've been training. We've been working so hard all our lives. And this isn't about spiritual bypassing. Do not get me wrong. I am not saying avoid what is going on. Do not feel your emotions. Feel your emotions and then choose the frequency you want to embody. It is okay to be angry. It is okay to be upset. It is okay to be incredibly heartbroken and and experiencing incredible grief and pain and loss. It is okay. What I'm encouraging us to do is to not remain in that frequency. Choose the higher frequency. Choose to embody higher frequencies. How do we embody higher frequencies? We open ourselves to the divine. We open ourselves to receiving the light, whether we call it source, God, Allah, goddess, the Holy Spirit, the Shekhinah. We open ourselves to receive the divine, the light of creation. Because what is going on now, part of it is a ritual sacrifice, basically to feed the powers that were, because they're losing control and they're losing their shit over it. It's basically the last throes of duality. So it is up to us to transcend. And yes, you can hold the vision for peace, for love, for harmony, for grace. You can hold that vision and still know that this is not right. What is going on has to stop. That Hamas is a terror organization. Pure and simple. They don't give a fuck about Palestine. So this isn't about Palestine and Israel. This is about control. This is about manipulation. This is about fear. This is about keeping us enslaved and indoctrinated into this system of duality and continuing the perpetuation of us giving our power away to anything that's outside of us. I'm calling on us to bring our power back to us. Call your power back to you. Understand that the teachings of Mary Magdalene and Yeshua, those are so relevant now. The mystical union, the divine, the mystical marriage, which is basically, it's what we celebrate on the Shabbat. And the Shabbat is celebrated on the Friday because that is the holy day, has been the holy day for the Middle Eastern cultures for millennia. And Yeshua and Mary Magdalene in the Christ Mystery School, that's what they celebrated that holy day. It was Friday. It was the day of the Shekhinah, because Friday is associated with the Shekhinah. This is why I launch these episodes on Friday, to honor the Shekhinah. So when the divine feminine, so this is the Shekhinah, when the divine feminine is not honored, not revered, not held sacred, when we do not, and part of that is not holding the Shabbat sacred. And Shabbat is, the word means lunar womb. So it's about coming back into union, coming back into the womb space, coming back into your union with the divine. When we're not actively choosing to remember the divine, honor the divine, allow her to flow through us, allow creation to infuse us with her breath, we're basically have her in exile. And when the divine feminine, the creative energy of all things, is in exile, there is fear, there is chaos, there is destruction, there is dissolution. This is what happens when we do not honor the feminine within us. And our entire society has been built. Well, hasn't been built. It's been co-opted to serve greed, strife, chaos, manipulation, fear. It's basically been co-opted for control and manipulation. And that isn't what Yeshua, Mary Magdalene, the Christ school, the mystery schools, those ancient traditions, that's not what they taught. They taught love. They taught grace. They taught divine union with the divine, that mystical marriage, that cultivation of our relationship with the Holy Spirit. The bringing that Shekhinah, bringing the Shekhinah back into our lives, welcoming her into our lives, bringing her in from the exile. That is what they taught. And that is love. That is the way of love. That is the way of divine union. That is the way of sacred, making the mundane sacred. This is what we are bringing back. We are bringing back the honoring of the feminine, because when creation is not honored, when we don't recognize that each and every one of us is actively creating our reality, our experience. Now, this is whether, no matter what faith you practice, no matter whether you awakened or not awakened, this is what you're doing. And again, no judgment, but this is what you're doing. You are creating. Now, you are either creating, and I've said this before, you're either creating consciously through purifying the waters of your creation, your womb space, whether you're male or female, you have a womb space. If you're male, incarnated in a physical male body, you're simply holding that energy in the energetic field, but you still have the energy for creation. Us women, we hold it energetically as well as physically. So when we are unaware of our power to create in our own, that we are the divine in human form. We are an aspect of this divine Holy Spirit, divine feminine God, goddess, Allah, in human form. When we don't know this, what happens is we don't purify, we don't do our inner work, we don't work on ourselves, we don't purify the waters of our creation, our womb, and then we end up creating from the patterns and the traumas and the karmas and the limiting beliefs and all the bullshit that we have accumulated from lifetimes, from our families. And you may have had the most wonderful upbringing. This isn't about saying that your upbringing was terrible because they passed on, negative karmas or negative, belief systems. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that we're not judging the parent or the family. We are simply making ourselves aware that there are programs, karmas, limiting beliefs, junk that isn't serving us. It is not contributing to our ascension. It's not contributing to our liberation. It's not contributing to the life that we wish to create. And that's okay. Just because it no longer serves you doesn't mean that it wasn't useful and it can't be honored in the way that it was. It can be. And at the same time, you can let it go. It is time for us to empty ourselves of the fear, the doubt, the disbelief, the programs, the repetitive thought patterns that we've created to tell us that we're not good enough, that we're not worthy, that this is all we're ever going to be. It's time to let go. It's time to let go of the fear. It's time to let go of the control. It's time to let go of the manipulation and allow ourselves to be seen and to truly see and see what it is that's going on, and allow ourselves to seed that which we wish to birth into being. Now, this can be a new career. This can be a greater expansion in your financial abundance. This can be peace. This can be awareness. This can be developing your knowing, your wisdom. This can be cultivating better relationships. It doesn't matter what form we are called to take action. What matters is that we do. What matters is that we honor ourselves. We recognize when we are behaving from our traumas, and then we course correct. We say, okay, this isn't what I want to do. I no longer wish to move from fear, from worry, from doubt. I wish to move from love. I wish to move from understanding. I wish to move from forgiveness. I wish to move from acceptance. I wish to move from my power, from knowing that I am whole, complete, sovereign. Because that is what sovereignty is. And this is what we are invited to receive when we receive the Shabbat, when we celebrate the Shabbat. We are invited to remember our sovereignty, remember our power, remember that we hold the codes for our liberation, we hold the codes for our ascension, and we are here to share them. We are here to share our light, to shine our light, to show others that there is another way, that it is not just black and white, it's not just two opposing forces. There is a way to transcend. There is a way to move forward and create a new solution, and not from the patterns that have created the mess that we are in as a collective humanity. We have basically been given away our power for so long that this is the result of the madness. And none of us, unless you are boots on the ground and you know the cultures that are in play, you don't know what's really what karmas have been seeded for generations. This isn't a new phenomena. This goes back to Abraham. This goes back to one of the biblical patriarchs. So my teacher, Anna, she shared a story, and I actually would love for her to go deeper into this. But she shared the story of Abraham and his wife, Sarah, and Sarah the matriarch, and how they were childless for ever. And then so she gifted him an Egyptian, I guess, house servant, and he basically had Ishmael with her, and he became the progenitor of the Arab Muslim. So he's basically a prophet in the Muslim faith, and that's that lineage. But she was visited by the Holy Spirit, and she eventually did conceive a child with her husband, Abraham, Isaac. And Isaac became I guess in a lot of ways, the favored child, because he became like the continuation of the Hebrew lineage. And so Abraham sent Hagar away with Ishmael and just continued his life with his wife Sarai and Isaac. So this seed, the seeds of discord and hatred in this family, I mean in this lineage, between these two faiths that share so many commonalities, has been going on from the beginning. So it's not really for any of us Westerners or Easterners, like honestly, like whether it doesn't matter where you are in the world. It's really not for us to opine as to, well, this needs to be done, that needs to be done. We don't know. We have absolutely no idea what the hell we're talking about whenever we open our mouths and opine on something that has absolutely nothing to do with us. If you haven't lived there, if you don't know these cultures, I'm sorry, but just like me, I don't feel I have a right to actually give an opinion, an educated opinion on how things should move about. My question at this point, what I'm doing is I'm praying and I'm sending light and I'm sending peace and I'm sending love. Because those are the most powerful things that we can do. And I'm actively doing energy work for this clearing of the karma of the women, the rapes and all of that. Like I'm not even going to get into what they did to the babies. So cancel, clear, delete that. But basically, the best thing we can do is hold the frequency of unconditional love and beam peace and light into this land. This land that is basically being, the earth herself is suffering by receiving all of this bloodshed. So it's really, like, I urge you to, like I'm listening. I am allowing myself to receive information and to learn about what are the seeds that cause this chaos, and how do we uproot the seeds of hatred, of destruction, of chaos, of suffering. How do we uproot these from our lives? And the thing is, it does not start there. It starts within each and every one of us. It starts with us uprooting the discord, the hatred, the animosity, the anger, the judgment. It starts with, my huskies agree. Hey, excuse me. Let me come back to this. Okay, so I'm back. It comes down to us seeing where we are in disunity, in disharmony. Where are we feeding these lower frequencies? Where are we feeding the fear? Where are we feeding the nonsense? And really staying in our heart. Because when we stay in our heart, there's a reason why I focus on the heart. The reason that I focus on the heart is because when we remain heart-centered, we are allowing ourselves to receive higher frequencies. We are allowing ourselves to receive the divine light of creation. And when we can receive that, we can allow ourselves to transcend and to, in a lot of ways, level up. In a lot of ways, allow ourselves to see the truth of what is going on, perceive the reality for what it is, and move from a space of love. And then when we move from a space of love, we're creating with a different frequency. We're creating with the frequency of light, of love, of grace, of unity, of sacred unity. We're creating with that frequency. We're not creating with the frequencies of duality and perpetuating that duality that is all on the lower planes of existence, which is where most of us humans kind of reside there. So we elevate ourselves to our heart. We elevate our frequency to our heart so we can open ourselves to receive. We can receive divine messages, receive healing, receive light, receive wisdom. That's another name for the Shekhinah. The Shekhinah, the Holy Spirit, Sophia, wisdom, true wisdom. And that is the most powerful thing we can do. Focus on our self-care, nurture and nourish ourselves, and educate yourself if you truly wish to. Like, if you truly wish to understand the root cause, because this is what's going on in the Middle East is a mirror of what's going on within us, in our own communities, in our own families in many cases. There is no separation. We are all one family. We are all one collective humanity. And this is what we need to remember. What is happening over there is happening here in our hearts. It's happening here in our communities. How do we fix that problem over there? We fix it right over here. We fix it in our homes. We fix it through heartfelt and heart-centered communication. We fix it by letting go of the karmas and the traumas and the lineage all of that nonsense, letting go of those programs, and remembering that we are love, that we are infinite, that our very existence is holy. We are. When we remember who we are holy. We are sacred beings here on a sacred mission. Every moment is precious. Every one of us has a unique story to tell, a unique gift to share, a unique way of expressing and of inspiring and of awakening one another. Don't give in to despair. Don't give in to fear. Don't give in to doubt. Come home to your heart. Come home to the truth of who you are, the infinite nature of your soul. We, collectively, each one of us and collectively, we have the ability to anchor in a higher frequency now. This is what we're doing. This is why it's so tough. Because we are anchoring a new frequency right now, every moment, with every word, every choice we make, with every fiber of our being. We are either anchoring in chaos, disunity, destruction, distortion, lies, illusions, or we're anchoring peace, love, grace, abundance, wisdom, harmony. I know what I want to anchor. I know what I am actively calling in and anchoring. Join me and let's bring this frequency. Let's bring it into our communities, bring it into our hearts, bring it into our families, bring it into everywhere and everyone we have a connection with. Now is the time for us to share our light, to fully embody our light, to radiate our light, to be that source of inspiration, of happiness, of joy, even amidst the harshest, darkest night of our collective humanity that this is right now. We can still choose to embody and radiate love. Love is what's going to win. Love has already won. Because we cannot continue this. The earth is tired of this nonsense. We are tired of this. And we change it by starting within, by doing our work, by actively looking for those parts of ourselves where we are still judging ourselves, where we are still being mean to ourselves, where we are still dishonoring our infinite nature, dishonoring our connection with the divine. Where are we holding on to judgment? Where are we holding on to fear? Where are we holding on to programs of lack, separation? Where are we holding on to these limitations? And how can we let them go? Liberate them. It's a choice. And you're probably going to be scared because you don't know who you're going to be when you let go of these patterns. Many of us have been holding these patterns for years and years, decades, if not generations and lifetimes. This isn't for the faint of heart, and I honor you because you are courageous by taking this on. Allow yourself to feel whatever is coming up and come back to your heart. Come back to love, come back to grace, come back to your infinite self. This is why we connect with the divine. This is why we bring in the Holy Spirit and the Shekhinah. And this is why we do our meditations and our movement practices and all the things that we do to remember who we are, to embody our light, to anchor in the higher frequencies in everything that we do, through our voice, through our work, through our words, through our thoughts. Everywhere, radiate your light. Now is the time for us to shine and to unite. Remember our oneness. Remember our infinite nature. Honor your infinite nature. You are sacred. You are worthy. You are loved. And with that, I will leave you. Thank you so much for listening. Couple of announcements. So tomorrow, Friday, I will be doing a Shabbat. So check out my Instagram. You can also catch the replay. I'm going to hold my first public Shabbat ceremony. Yikes. So if you'd like to join me, even if you would like to join me for Shabbat after, if you can't catch it live, catch the replay. It's going to be great. And the next thing is it's time to start thinking about how we're going to start the year. So I am holding a Come Home to Your Heart in-person retreat at Joshua Tree, California at Gaia Villa. So do check out the link for that, because it's going to be fantastic. Because again, it's all about coming back to our heart and learning the tools and the techniques and the ways that we can more easily come back to our hearts. And of course, the 11/11, November 11th is a very powerful day for manifestation. We're going to learn how to embody creation through sound, because sound is a very, very powerful healing practice. So do join me for those. And if you have any questions, I look forward to hearing your thoughts. And I look forward to hearing your feedback. And if you like this, give this a like, give me a 5-star review, share it, subscribe, do all the things to show that you are enjoying this content. And stay tuned for the sound healing. Ahava, many blessings.